Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Bears. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the What is Juice channel, and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be taking a look at what would happen if the entire NFL disappeared and all we were left was the NCAA. That's right. Today, we are going to be simulating a few seasons with college teams in the NFL. I've got a ton of colleges, all the top names: Alabama, Georgia, the Ohio State University, Michigan, Florida. All the teams that you know and love are here in this franchise, and we're going to be simulating a few seasons to see which team can assert their dominance not only on the college football level, but on the biggest stage. Who's going to hold a Lombardi? We'll find out. Hope you guys go and enjoy. If you have any other suggestions for cool videos like this and you want to see me do them, leave them down below in the comments section. I'd be happy to take them into consideration and possibly make them into a video like this. But without further ado, it's time to get into this video and see what would happen if college teams were put in the NFL. What would they do? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's get started. Here we are at the home screen. We're probably going to simulate about 2, maybe 3 seasons to kind of get a nice feel for how this is going and how the landscape has changed. I am currently the Philadelphia Eagles because they are the representative for Ohio State, and we will take a look at everybody's roster in a second. But I do want to say one thing before we do that. Everybody has normal development. Now, I could have gone in and changed everybody's development trait and done all that stuff, but I wanted to see if it was a fair playing field. Nobody's got X factors in the first season. Nobody's got any abilities. Nobody's got any faster development with more XP than anybody else. It's a clean slate, fair playing field. Who would come out on top with the development? Like, whose players would develop faster? I thought that'd be a fun little interesting side thing to keep an eye on. So everybody in the entire NFL has normal development. I thought that'd be pretty fun. But these are the most current college teams from last season. So obviously we've got CJ Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., Travion Henderson, Jackson Smith-Njigba. The entire Ohio State team is here, both on offense and defense. Steel Chambers, one of my personal favorites on the Ohio State team. Denzel Burke, Jack Sawyer, JTT's down here. Zach Harrison. It's a good team. Should have beaten Georgia in the semifinals, but we won't get into that. So that is what the Ohio State team, and they are obviously the Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't make this roster, so I didn't choose what college teams go to what NFL teams. So it's not up to me. But there are 32 college teams in here, and we will go through them and see just who it is. So maybe your favorite college team is in this roster. I hope they are. I know mine is. So the Chicago Bears are first up. They are the Clemson Tigers. We've got notable names like DJ Uiagalelei, but he is obviously transferred out of Clemson at this point. I think Hunter Johnson is going to take over at quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. But this is the Clemson Tigers up-to-date team. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's 100% factual, because I'm not a fan of any other college team other than Ohio State. So if there's people missing from this that are a little bit lower tier that should be on here, I apologize. I didn't make the roster. I wouldn't catch it. But this is the Clemson Tigers. They are the Chicago Bears. The Bengals are the Florida Gators, and they have a Mr. Anthony Richardson. That's right, he is here. And Jalen Kitna, oh no. Oh, yikes. Is that the guy that I'm thinking of? Is that John Kitna's kid? Because if it is, he's got some issues. I don't know for a fact if it is, but if it is, then we've got some problems there. I can't remember if he went to Florida or not. But we've got all the notable people from the Florida Gators. Then the Buffalo Bills, they are the Oregon Ducks. The Ducks with Christian Gonzalez, a Patriot. We've got Bo Nix. So the Buffalo Bills are Oregon. The Broncos, they are LSU. Go Tigers. We've got Sevyn Banks, former Ohio State Buckeye. Jaden Daniels, former Arizona State Sun Devil. Miles Brennan, John Emery Jr. So all the people that you would recognize from the LSU Tigers. The Cleveland Browns are the Miami Hurricanes. Are they ever back? They're probably not. Tyler Van Dyke is the quarterback. Jalen Knighton, running back. Receivers, Keyshawn Smith. All the notable Miami Hurricane players are on the board. Buccaneers, Ronald Williams for Michigan State. We've got Xavier Henderson, Jaden Reed, quarterback Peyton Thorne. Tampa Bay is the Michigan State Spartans. Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals are Nebraska. The Cornhuskers make it in here. Casey Thompson, Logan Smothers, Chubba Purdy. What a name. That's a classic, legendary Hall of Fame caliber name right there, Chubba Purdy. So that is Nebraska. They are the Cardinals. Chargers are Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner. Dylan Gabriel is here. Oh, how could we forget? How could I forget? Another Hall of Fame level name, General Booty. How could you forget General Booty, man? That's a classic, legendary Hall of Fame name, just like the other one that we just saw. So that's the Chargers. They're Oklahoma. The Chiefs are Florida State. The Seminoles make it into this roster. Quarterback Jordan Travis. I don't really know much about the Florida State team. They're kind of garbage. Then we go to the Colts. Who are the Colts? They are Texas. Tejas makes it in here. Quinn Ewers, Hudson Card. That's who we got here in Texas. Bijan should be on this team. There he is, Bijan. And wide receivers are also pretty good. So Texas makes it as the Colts. I would have put them as the Texans, but hey, that's just me. Texas A&M also makes it on here. Max Johnson, quarterback, as the Washington Commanders. Then we've got the Cowboys, Texas Tech, former school of Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes. Baron Morton, I don't know who that is, but he's the quarterback of the Texas Tech team, so good for them. Miami Dolphins have USC. So we've got Caleb Williams. We've got Jordan Addison. We've got everybody that you would want from USC on this team in Miami. Good for them. The Philadelphia Eagles, we know, are The Ohio State University. Falcons are Alabama. That is right. Will Anderson Jr., Bryce Young, Jahmyr Gibbs. The whole Alabama squad is here in Atlanta now. 49ers, we've got the Michigan Wolverines. Meat Chicken makes it in. That hurts my soul to see them here, but they're here. Cade McNamara, J.J. McCarthy, running back Blake Corum. Receivers are a bunch of garbage players that I don't care about, and then we move on from them. The Giants are the Tennessee Vols. Okay. Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton III, hardly know her. Joe Milton III, who is going to take over for Hendon. And then you've got wide receivers, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman. Now, I didn't make these, like, I've been saying this a bunch because I don't want you guys to get mad at me. I didn't make this roster, so if you're mad with a rating or a player's overall, I didn't make the roster, so I can't tell you. Then we go to the Jaguars. They are Auburn. The Tigers make it in. And this is who the Tigers have on their team. Everybody that you would expect. That is who the Jaguars are. The Jets are Baylor. The Bears make it to the roster. Okay. Who's after the Jets? It is the Lions. But who the Lions? They are Georgia. The Bulldogs, Stetson Bennett, man, he's here. He is here. The Georgia Bulldogs make it. There's Darnell Washington. There's Brock Bowers. There's Eric Gilbert. They got a ton of tight end depth there. That's a pretty scary thing right there. The Green Bay Packers are Iowa. Yikes. Iowa makes it in. That is not good, but they are the Green Bay Packers. The Carolina Panthers, Minnesota. Tanner Morgan. This team is also not very good, but hey, not my deal. Not my deal. Patriots are Ole Miss. Okay, Jackson Dart is here in the squad. Very, very cool. Very cool. Jonathan Mingo. All right, Patriots are Ole Miss. The Raiders are Indiana. The Hoosiers. Very interesting choice, but whatever. The Rams are Penn State. Joey Porter Jr. makes it. Cool. Notre Dame are the Baltimore Ravens. Very interesting here. Jarrett Patterson, Michael Mayer. The New Orleans Saints, UCLA. Dorian Thomas Robinson. Is it Thompson Robinson? I think it's Thompson Robinson. Obviously, his name couldn't fit in there. But that's UCLA. The Seahawks are North Carolina, and another Hall of Fame name, Storm Duck. Then we've got the Steelers, who are Washington. The Huskies. Extended Penix. I see him. Extended Penix, Michael Penix Jr. That's the Steelers. The Texans. We only got 3 more teams. Wisconsin is the Texans. Jack Sanborn. Jake Ferguson. The Tennessee Titans are TCU. And obviously, Max/Jim Duggan are the TCU, which is the Titans. And then we go to the final team. Iowa State makes it as the final team. So that is all 32 colleges replacing the NFL teams. I apologize if your favorite college did not make it. Once again, I didn't make the roster. So take your gripes and your arguments and your angriness to the creator of this roster and not me. But here are your top 99 overall players that are in the game right now. And one fun fact that I do want to say, there's no salary cap in this league because obviously we know that it's college football. There is NIL, but that's the only way that players get paid. So with no salary cap, because there is no salary cap in college football, I thought that'd be a pretty fun addition to see kind of craziness, see if players move in the transfer portal and see what happens. So we're going to simulate this first season, see who makes the college football playoff, and we'll go from there. Hope you guys are excited and enjoying this video. If you want to see anything else like it, leave a comment down below, suggest your topics, and I might just do them in a video. But I will see you guys in the playoffs when we find out who is king. All right, so we made it to the college football playoffs, and the Ohio State Buckeyes made the playoffs at 11-6, won the division by a good margin. The next team was the Commanders at 9-8. I forget who they were, but they are the next team at 9-8. So we easily won the division, but we weren't good enough to be the #1 seed in the college football playoffs. Very interesting because we fell out to we were actually the 4 seed. So the Falcons, Bears, and Rams did better than us. Very interesting. I don't remember who those teams were, but that is who did better. So let's see if we can win. We will take a look at the stats and stuff after we find out if the Buckeyes can win a college football championship, a national championship. I hope they can because I'm a Buckeye fan. So we'll see if they can get past this team. Yes, they can. 26-21. The Penn State Nittany Lions are the Rams. That's who they are. So we're taking on we're taking on Penn State in the quarterfinals, I guess, of the college football playoffs, because then the championship game would be the semifinals, and then obviously the Super Bowl is the finals. So let's see if we can beat the Penn State Nittany Lions. Big Ten rivalry here. A lot of hatred between these two teams, and they got us. That would never happen in real life. That would never happen, but whatever. We make it to the quarterfinals, and now we can take a look at the stats and all that good stuff and see just how everybody did around the league. So it looks like Bryce Young led the nation in passing yards. Very interesting. How did CJ Stroud do? Very curious. 4,500 yards. Okay. 41 touchdowns, 11 picks. Picks? Very interesting from CJ. 933 yards, 7 touchdowns, 240 yards, 5 touchdowns for CJ on the ground. Travion didn't get over 1,000. Smith and Jigba got 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison, 900 yards and 9 touchdowns. Emeka Ibuka had 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. Cade Stover also got over 1,000 yards. I think since this is the Philly playbook, they're going to be valuing the tight end a little bit more. Defensively, how do we do? We had 104 tackles from a corner, Denzel Burke. Wow, okay. Now, this team doesn't have a lot of quality linebackers. Steel Chambers is about the best one. But it's a lot of defensive backs getting a lot of tackles. Lathan Ransom, Ronnie Hickman, Tanner McAllister, Cameron Brown. Jeez, this is crazy. Who led in sacks? Tell me it was Mike Hall Jr. As expected, Zach Harrison, Jack Sawyer, Taron Vincent. Very, very expected from those guys. Interception leaders, Lathan Ransom, Tanner McAllister, Denzel Burke, Jacqueline Johnson, I think is how you say his name. Let's go to the entire NFL just to kind of see an overview of who was kind of dominating this league. So let's go to the best passing players. Who were the quarterbacks? So obviously Bryce Young led the league in passing yards and also had 49 touchdowns, 8 picks. He had a fantastic season. Connor Baselick from Indiana came in second. Then you got Tyler Van Dyke, Peyton Thorne, Sean Clifford, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Dylan Gabriel, Stetson Bennett. There's Richardson, Stroud. Okay, so some interesting names there. The touchdown leader, I think, was also Bryce Young. Yes, it was, by a good margin. CJ finished second, though. The running leader was Zach Evans from Ole Miss with 1,200 yards. Amani Bailey came in second. Zach Charbonnet, Eric Gray from Oklahoma. Who was the touchdown leader? Was it Eric Gray? It was. Eric Gray led with 21 touchdowns. That's very impressive. Receiving leaders, you had Jaden Reed. You had Shimry Dyke? DK? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I never even heard of him, to be fair. Romello Brinson, Kyle Phillips, Jack Beck. Not some of the names you would expect. And Cameron Latu from Alabama, the tight end. Bryce Young's favorite target, I guess. Okay, led in touchdowns. Defensively, who was the best defensive player? It was Cam Bright from Washington, along with Luke Reimer, Nebraska, Wesley Steiner from Auburn. Ooh, don't get those mixed up. Sack leaders, Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame, tied with Dylan Horton of TCU with 21.5. Okay. Then I don't even want to pronounce his name, but he had 20. Michael Barrett from Michigan had 18.5. We had interception leaders. J.D. Bertrand from Notre Dame had 6. So it looks like Notre Dame had a very good season. They're leading a lot of these categories, or at least at the top of them. T.J. Tampa from Iowa State had 6, and so did Cam Bright. So Cam Bright also had a very good year. 158 tackles as a middle linebacker and 6 interceptions is crazy. So that is the stats from around the league, at least the top half of the stats. So we'll figure out who's going to win the first college football championship of this simulation. And then we will go simulate past the offseason because we don't care about that. And then we will go and find out just who is going to win the college football championship this year as well. So it's Alabama versus the Broncos. Who's the Denver Broncos again? Let me check. Once this gets to where it needs to be, I want to check and see who the Denver Broncos are. So who is the Broncos again? It's not UCLA. Who are the Broncos? The Broncos are LSU. Alabama versus LSU in the championship game. Okay. Alabama and LSU. I'm kind of pulling for LSU because Alabama always wins championships. No matter if it's in Madden simulation where they're not even true Alabama or if it's in actual real life. Alabama's always winning championships. So let's find out who's going to be the first college football champion. Is it going to be Alabama? Is it going to be LSU? Come on, LSU. I know you got it in you. You can do it. Take down Bryce Young. No, Alabama wins the national championship in year 1. As expected. That's what you would expect from Alabama. Even in Madden, Alabama's still the Kings. So we've got season recap. We've got Alabama winning the national championship. Bryce Young won the Heisman and won Offensive Player of the Year, which is probably... Oh, what's that award called? I forget what it's called. But those are your awards here. I'll move my camera so you can see them. Those are your awards. And Bryce Young won the national championship MVP as well. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, so now we move to the good stuff. And I will see you guys at the start of season 2. Because remember, the off season doesn't really matter. We've made it to the start of year number 2 of the simulation, and I want to check. I didn't check at all during the simulating to the week 1. I want to see who's got development upgrades at all, if anybody. Do we have anything? Okay, so CJ Stroud is up to star development. Cade Stover is up to star, but nobody else has moved. What about the defense? It looks like Josh Proctor and Denzel Burke are star. Mike Hall's a superstar, and Latham Ransom's a star. Very interesting. It doesn't look like the team changed too much. I had nothing to do with free agency. That's all on auto. The draft is all on auto. I had nothing to do with that. So it looks like the defense for the most part is pretty much the same. And it looks like the wide receivers and offensive line is the same except for the right guard. Everybody else should be pretty much the same as what it was in year number 1. Okay. So that's very interesting. I do want to check quickly. Did Bryce Young go up to like X Factor or something? That's the one thing I want to check. So let's go to the Atlanta Falcons and figure out if Bryce Young is like an X Factor now or something, because he won the Super Bowl and he won like Heisman. What has he got? Bryce Young is now a superstar development player. He's a 99 overall superstar development quarterback for Alabama. Very interesting. But this is season 2 simulation. We're only going to do 3 seasons to kind of get a nice little baseline of 3 years. We will see who wins the season 2 national championship. Hopefully, it'll be the Ohio State Buckeyes. We made it to the end of season 2, and it looks like the Ohio State Buckeyes had a down season, finishing 9-8 in a division that wasn't very good because the Cowboys won it at 10-7. Whoever the Cowboys are, I forget who they are. So a little bit of a down year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll take a look at the stats here Dorian Thompson-Robinson led the league in passing yards. Very cool. Remember, we've only got one more season of simulation. So CJ's numbers, 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's a solid season from CJ. We just didn't have the production, I'm guessing, on defense. 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns for Travion Henderson. Fantastic numbers. Receiving wise, Marvin finally delivered. He has arrived. 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Egbuka had 1,112 touchdowns, and then Stover also had 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Smith and Jigba had 904 touchdowns. So that's what his numbers are. Defensively, we had 92 tackles from Lathan Ransom. Denzel Burke went down from 100 to 81, so I really think the defense kind of let us down, which is not surprising if you're an Ohio State fan. Tommy Eichenberg also did very well. Ronnie Hickman, who led the team in sacks. We had 11.5 from Jack Stoll. Yeah, so we just weren't getting pressure. We had a couple of guys who had like a ton of sacks, double-digit sacks last year. We just weren't getting pressure this season. Mike Hall also had 10.5. Interception leaders, Ronnie Hickman had 4, but nobody else had more than 1. Very interesting from the team. Kind of let down on defense. So let's go take a look at the rest of the league. We know that Thompson Robinson led the league in passing yards, or led the country in passing yards. Anthony Richardson wasn't too far behind him. Then you got Bryce Young, Peyton Thorne, CJ was at the top of the list, Walker Howard, Caleb Williams is right there. Who led the country in touchdowns? It'll be Walker Howard from LSU. He just went to a national championship and lost to Alabama, so this year he's coming back with a vengeance. Interception leader was Walker Howard with 21. Rushing stats, Zach Evans led the country with rushing yards of 1,300. Then he had 6 touchdowns. Broussard Bijan had 18 from Eric Gray. Eric Gray must be a freaking stud because he's been up here twice now. He's led the league, led the country twice. Charbonnet's right there. Blake Corum. Very interesting. Receiving numbers. Jaden Reed right up there with 1,500 and 14 touchdowns. Dylan Wright from Minnesota. RJ Sneed from Baylor. Very interesting numbers here. There's Jordan Addison, who led the nation in touchdowns. It was a tie between Terrell Bynum and Keegan Johnson. Okay. Interesting. And then the defensive numbers, Levante Bentley from Clemson had 155 tackles. Andre White Jr. from Texas A&M had 154. Mike Jones Jr. from LSU had 149. But remember, we had an off season, so now colleges are going to be mixed up. And then we've got sack leaders was Jalen Carter, had 32.5. Oh my God. It was only a matter of time before Georgia arrived, and it looks like they have. 32.5? Jalen Carter was zooming down the field. Will Anderson Jr. had 17. Who led the league, or who led the country in interception? West Weeks from LSU had 6. And then there's Bentley with 5. Junior Colson had 5 as well. 32.5 sacks. Give that man the freaking Heisman. I don't care. Jalen Carter deserved it after that performance. That is insane in the membrane. The fact that he had 32.5 sacks. I've never seen that in a simulation. In a one-season simulation, I've never seen anybody get over 30 sacks. That's crazy. 32.5 sacks is mental. That's unreal. Jalen Carter, man. He just murdered that quarterback every single time he went out there. 32.5 times he sacked the quarterback. That's a certified sheesh if I've ever seen one. It is Alabama back-to-back, but this time against the Colts. Who are the Colts again? We will check. So we know that the Broncos are LSU. Who are the Indianapolis Colts? I forget already. They are, drum roll please, Texas. Bijan and Quinn Ewers gets the Colts to the national championship game to take on the defending champs, Alabama. Come on, Texas. You claim to be back every year. Can this prove it? Can you actually get the job done, or will Bryce Young, Nick Saban, and Alabama once again reign supreme, and they are dominant again? Alabama goes 2 for 2. Can they make it a straight three-peat? We will find out as we get ready for the final year of simulation. I will see you guys at week number 1. Actually, before we do that, I just remembered we have to see the season recap. That's my bad. So it's Bryce Young again with the national championship MVP. He won 2 back-to-back Heisman. It's just him and Archie. Wow. Okay, we've got some interesting stuff going on here. 2-time Heisman winner Bryce Young. Okay. Very intriguing numbers there for Bryce Young. Is he the GOAT? We'll find out. We've got one more year. All right, we've made it to the final year of simulation. It is time to find out what the last development trait upgrades we have are, and we are taking on Alabama in the first game of the season. That is not daunting at all. I'm guessing Bryce Young is now an X factor. There's no way he couldn't be. 2-time Heisman winner, 2-time national champion. You kidding me? So CJ's gone up to superstar. Awesome. TreVeyon Henderson star. We've got Calhoun, whoever that is a superstar. That's cool. We got Cade Stover at star. What about on defense? Show me some good stuff here. Michael Hall Jr. is still a superstar. Jack Sawyer star. Denzel Burke and Proctor are still stars. Okay. So it looks like we've kind of kept the same team a little bit. We got Jacobs, who I don't recognize. But for the most part, the team is pretty much the same as it was when we first started. And we've got one more season. Come on, Ohio State. I know you can do it. Don't let me down 3 years in a row. Do not let Alabama win 3 straight championships. That would be crazy. But I will see you guys at the playoffs, the college football playoffs, with hopefully some good news. Okay, we've made it to the final college football playoffs of the video, and we won 14 games, dethroned the Alabama Crimson Tide for the 1 seed in the nation. I'm so happy. We are the 1 seed. I'm happy, man. I am so excited for this. Alabama went 10-7. Alabama went 10-7. They're washed. It's over. The Buckeyes are taking home a national championship. We're getting a natty. CJ Stroud, 5,000 yards. He's only getting better. 38 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. What a freaking stud. 1,100 yards and 18 touchdowns for TreVeyon Henderson. Amazing season from him. And CJ even ran for 10 touchdowns as well. That would never happen. Receiving wise, 3 1,000-yard receivers, and they're all the stud receivers. Emeka Egbuka, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Smith and Jigba, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. And Cade Stover almost got 1,000 yards with 963 and 9 touchdowns. Defensively, how did we get on? Did we dominate? Tommy Eichenberg, I was expecting you to be up here the entire time, but you finally do make it with 139 tackles, 95 tackles for Sonny Styles. Denzel Burke had 92. Very, very good. How about the sacks? How many sacks? Mike Hall continues to dominate with 14. A couple guys, JTT had 9. How about interception leaders? We had 3 from Styles, Eichenberg, and Denzel Burke. Okay. Let's go take a look at the around the nation stats. See just where Bryce Young fell into place. Is he going to win 3 straight Heismans? Miles Brennan had 5,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 5,100 yards, 40 touchdowns. Hauser had 5,100 yards, and then CJ came in right there. There's Bryce Young, so he didn't have the greatest season. He's probably not winning Heisman this year. But he did lead the league in touchdowns and had 11 interceptions, which isn't that bad. The most amount of interceptions was Spencer Petras from Iowa. Not a shocker there. Hendon Hooker, I hardly know her, also came in second. Rushing leader, Ulysses Bentley the fourth. 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. Zach Charbonnet had 1,413. Bijan, 1,208 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had 1,214 touchdowns. Blake Corum. So all the guys that you would expect. There's Travion Henderson. And I'm guessing Travion was at the top of the list. Yes, he was. He led it, tied with Abram Smith from Baylor with 18 touchdowns. Good for Travion. You love to see it. Receiving leaders. Who do we got up here? We got Jordan Addison, killed the game with 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns. Terrell Bynum, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Autumn Bell had 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. Cam Brown, 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns. Who led the league in touchdowns? Let's cut to the good stuff. Dylan Wright, Ricky Purcell, both had 17. Jaden Reed and EJ Williams had 16. Okay. Defensively, how good were we? Ventrell Miller, 146 tackles is insane. Levante Bentley, 145, along with Randolph Kapai? I don't know. Danny Stutzman had 140. There's Tommy Eichenberg. So we are right up there. There's Jack Campbell. We are right up there in every single category this year. 22 sacks from Isaiah Foskey. I mean, it's no 32 and a half from Jalen Carter last year. I didn't see Jalen Carter up here. A couple guys had 20. A couple guys had 19. Will McDonald, Corey Foreman. Where is Jalen Carter? There's no injuries on, so he played the entire year. Here he is. He just sucked. 82 tackles, 12 sacks. That's all, Jalen? That's all you got? After the season you put up last year? 6 interceptions from Donovan McMillan. Henry Toto had 6, also 6 as well. Kool-Aid McKinstry had 4. So those are your year 3 stats. But I'm not caring about that anymore. I'm caring about the Ohio State University winning the 3rd and final national championship. We gotta bring a natty back to C-Bus. Can we do it? We haven't won one since the inaugural one in 2014, and we're taking on Alabama in the quarterfinals. Oh, this is not good. JTT's got a breakout scenario, which is awesome. But we're taking on the back-to-back defending champs, Alabama, and the 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Come on, take it home. Beat Alabama. We dethroned the champs. Alabama's gone. See you later, Nick Saban. Go eat your moon pies and your coffee and go sleep with Miss Terry. I don't care what you do. You're not in the national championship. JTT got an upgrade. He's now star development. That's huge because we got 5,000 plus XP for our defensive linemen as well. That's actually really, really big. We take on the Giants, who are Michigan. Oh my God. It's Ohio State and Michigan in the semifinals. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The game is here. And we lost. No. No. It had to be Michigan. Anybody else? Oh, my heart. Oh, I can't take it. No. Why did it have to be Michigan? No! Oh, I can't bear it. Michigan beat us. I can't handle this. Please, Tennessee. Who's Tennessee again? I don't remember who the Titans were. They really should have put the Tennessee Vols on Tennessee Titans. That would have made more sense. But who are the Titans? I don't remember. Look at all the 99s on this squad, though, by the way. Who are the Titans again? They are TCU. That's right. They're TCU. A lot of changes, but they are TCU. I remember that. So it's TCU versus Michigan, just like it was in the semifinals of real life this past season. It's TCU and Michigan for the national championship in the final season. Please, TCU, please do not let Michigan win this. Please. I can't handle meat chicken. No. Don't allow it. Please, no. Yes! Michigan loses! Yes! Thank you. I could not handle having Michigan win a championship on my video. Oh, man. That would have caused me to not upload the video if that would have happened. Thank you, TCU. I appreciate that so much. Oh, but that hurts, man. To lose to Michigan in the semifinals. CJ Stroud's the Heisman! And we won Coach of the Year. CJ Stroud wins the 3rd Heisman. Okay, I count this as a successful video. We didn't win a national championship, but we made the college football playoff 2 times. We made the semifinals 1 time. We did lose to Michigan, which could be counted as a very, very big failure. But CJ Stroud wins the 3rd and final Heisman. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. If you have any comments on this one, leave them down in the comments section. I would be super excited to see what you guys had to say about this one. And if you have any other video suggestions you want to see me possibly do in an upcoming video, leave them down there as well, and I might take them into consideration. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly, truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.